Good evening. This is April 9th, 2020. In lieu of us having a chairman and vice chair, I'll be calling this meeting to order. This is a special meeting. This is our organizational meeting. And the time is 6:31. And now we'll go to the pledge with the mayor.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so item 3 on the agenda is nominations for chairman. Would anybody nominate chairman or nominate themselves even?
And just for procedural, remind everybody that we'll take nomination, we'll vote on them in the order that they're made. So we can take more than one nomination and then we'll vote on them in the order that they're made once all the nominations are made.
Correct.
I'll nominate Jane.
Is there a second for that nomination?
Second.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, congratulations, Jane.
Thank you. I get to run the funny show first. That's wonderful.
Any nominations for vice chair?
Yeah, I'll nominate Eric Cooley.
I'll second that.
Second. Okay, Drew, you want to read resolution or number 4? Let's get this rolling.
Sure. I just have to find it.
No, she said Drew. I'm sorry, I was writing the names in, Penny. Resolution 2020-07, a resolution by the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, appointing Jane Mealy as the chairman of the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, providing for conflict and providing an effective date. And Penny, if you'd like to go down the list and count the votes.
So there was a nomination by Rick Bellhumer, and Eric seconded that nomination to have Jane as our chair. Now I'm out of order. I'm used to looking up here and reading this, so bear with me a second. Commissioner Phillips. You're muted. There, tap it again. There you go.
Do we
There we
need to make a motion to approve resolution?
We have the nomination. And
We're approving a resolution though, correct?
Rick's right. Sorry, Rick. You're right. So if somebody will make the motion to approve the resolution, we'll get motion and second on the resolution.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2020-07.
Second.
That was, yeah,
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Commissioner Bryan.
Okay. Commissioner Phillips.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan.
Yes.
Commissioner Bellhumer.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley.
Yes to the motion.
Chair Mealy. I feel like I
Yes.
missed something. Did I miss someone? No.
No.
2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're good. Okay. I'm sorry. Motion carried unanimously. Jane, I'll let you take it over at this point.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is resolution 2020-08.
Resolution 2020-08, a resolution by the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, appointing Eric Cooley as Vice Chairman of the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, providing for conflict and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve resolution 2020-08.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. Second.
Yep.
Am I muted?
Commissioner Bryan?
Am I muted?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Commissioner Bellhumer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley?
Yes to the motion.
Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Chair Mealy?
Yes.
Passed is unanimous.
All right, now we go to resolution 2020-09.
Resolution 2020-09, a resolution by the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, designating signatories for the bank accounts at the State Board of Administration, Florida Municipal Investment Trust, and SunTrust Bank, providing how said funds may be withdrawn, providing for conflict, and providing an effective date hereof.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve resolution. Second.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get up here. Commissioner Belhumeur,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes, the motion.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Chair Mealy,
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the appointments of elected officials to boards and committees. You have a chart there with who had held the various appointments in the past. I'd like to start with the mayor and the previous commissioners as to whether you would like to hold on to the positions you had, or if you would like to give them up. Linda, you were on the investment committee. The investment committee. Do you want to stay on there?
Have to as the mayor.
I'm sorry?
There's two positions. One of them has to be the mayor,
Right,
so I
one's
don't have a
the mayor, one's
choice.
the commission.
Oh, right, I'm sorry. Okay, so we need another commissioner on there, but you want to stay, oh, you have to, you're the mayor, right? Sorry, we'll get this done. Eric, the EDTF,
The EDTF does not work with me in my schedule anymore, so I would like somebody else to take that over if possible.
okay. And the TDC,
Oh, I'm sorry, EDTF I can do, the TDC I cannot.
oh, okay.
I'd like to take the TDC if no one else wants it.
Does anybody else besides Ken want it? Okay, Ken, you got it. I'd like to stay the ex officio to the chamber. Linda, the A1A,
Yes.
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 I would like to stay on the museum board. Rick, do you want to be the alternate still?
Sure.
Okay. And Lindy, well, that's the League of Mayors, so I guess you don't have any choice, right? Sorry. Rick, the voting member to the league?
Yeah, I'll hang on to that. That's fine.
Okay. And okay, for the new people, the League of Cities has 5 legislative policy committees, which means you go to their meetings and you help the league decide what their legislative policies will be. And we have a list there of the various committees that they have. Rick, are you going to stay on that land use one?
Yeah, I just got used to what they do, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind staying with that.
Yeah, having the history is good, and I'd like to stay on the utilities. Is anybody else wish to? The others are, it's a very interesting process. I think it's 3 meetings usually, and they happen at different times depending on when session's going to be. So you go usually to Orlando, and you have 2 all-day meetings and 1 half-day meeting. So does anybody either want the finance, taxation, and personnel?
Okay with that. I'm used to going to Tallahassee.
Yeah, okay. All right, Ken wants this one. I think we're missing one here.
Ken wanted transportation.
No, he wanted finance, I think finance and personnel. Am I wrong?
Was that on the League of Cities?
Yeah,
Sure, I'm okay with that.
I'm sorry.
Yes, that's fine.
The finance and personnel, okay. So then we have also transportation and intergovernmental relations. I think we're missing one here.
Jane, I can take transportation and intergovernmental relations.
Okay. Okay, I think you'll enjoy it. It's an interesting process. Rick, you still want to be the liaison to the Water Management District?
Yeah, I've gotten to know some of the people over there, so yeah, I'd like to keep that.
Okay. And we had the business ambassador meetings. Eric, you were doing those along with Marshall. Do you want to stay doing that?
Yes, I'd like to stay doing that.
Okay. And is there somebody else? These are the meetings that are held with the city manager. And basically you explain to businesses the easiest way to set up business. Am I correct, Eric? That's basically what you
Yes,
do.
it's been very sporadic and few and far between of those meetings, but try to get some more going.
Okay, well, I'm not sure every business wants to meet. I'm not sure at whose end is the
So Jane, since I'm a business owner, I can do that as well.
Okay, good. All right. So we are left with, are we done?
No.
Oh, there are more. Sorry,
All the-
sorry. Okay, the river to sea.
Jane, I'd like to maybe jump into that seat and give up my other seat on the Public Safety Coordinating Council, since I have experience and know their procedures reasonably well from having been on the Citizens Advisory Committee for years.
Okay,
Somebody else wants to chime in and
I'm sorry, which one is
Not
that?
you.
Rick, which one is that?
the river to sea transportation planning.
Okay.
All right, Ricky, I guess you got it. And the others are people from the community. So I guess we're gonna have to look for, Penny, look for people from the community.
Correct. The primary, as, I can't think of his name right now. He drives around in the golf cart with a shark on top.
Rob Plimpton.
Right. He resigned as the primary for the TPO Citizen Advisory Committee. And we have the alternate of Mary Diogardi. And she is attending for him now. Of course, I don't think they've had any meetings recently. But we can move her to the primary and advertise for a new alternate if you would like.
Okay, and does Paul like, maybe you don't know, does Paul like want to stay on the DPAC?
He hasn't mentioned anything different about moving off of it, but I'll contact him if you'd like me to.
Please. Okay, and you'll check with Mary if she wants to stay on there.
Correct.
Okay. And I guess check with Charlie if he wants to continue being the alternate.
Correct.
Okay,
And I think I do already have advertised for the Citizens Advisory Committee. I'm just waiting. I haven't received many applications for that, though.
okay. Yeah, you did advertise for it. I saw that. All right, Linda, the Family Life Center.
Yes, I'd like to stay on that.
And Rick, you said you didn't want to stay on the public safety?
Well, I figured I'd give something up. Let's give somebody else a chance if they want to do it.
Okay, you want to explain what it's, you want to,
I can do it.
yeah, okay. And the community health needs assessment? Is that still ongoing?
They're supposed to, I haven't heard anything about it lately, but they didn't send me notices on that. I think they sent them directly to Kim and Larry.
All right, well, let's see if somebody's interested.
Hey, Jane, did you get somebody to replace Commissioner Carney on the investment committee?
No, we have to go back to
No,
that.
we're gonna go back.
Back to safety.
Yeah, we'll go back. There was a couple we don't have. So anybody want this community health needs assessment leadership team? It's meeting with people from all over the county. I'm not quite sure what they've accomplished.
What the heck, I'm retired.
Hmm.
Who was that, Ken? Good luck, Ken.
I'll find out what they're doing.
Okay. All right, that takes us to the end of that.
Back
So,
to the page
Yeah,
one.
go back to page 1, and we need somebody for the finance committee, investment committee.
I can do an investment committee if needed. I don't know what their schedule is, but it seems to be okay.
They were meeting quarterly is the requirement. Sometimes they meet more frequent if they're in the middle of something. But they do meet in the morning. It's usually at 8:30 in the morning, but that time can change. I mean,
It's all internal people, isn't it?
pretty much, yes. There's
So
a
I'm sure you can
couple of-
work. Go ahead.
there's an attorney, and there's always been a empty spot for an investment attorney, but there's been an investment broker, and then a commissioner, a mayor, the city manager, and the finance director.
All right. So do you think you can probably work something out, Eric?
It's quarterly. I don't see it being a problem.
Okay. The safety committee,
I'd like to be on the safety committee.
Debbie?
All right.
I think we have them all now.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Yep, we do. Okay. Now we have resolution 2020-10.
Resolution 2020-10, a resolution by the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, declaring the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida is duly organized and ready to transact any business that would properly come before it, providing for conflict and providing an effective date.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve 2020-10.
Second, I can second.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes to the motion.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes,
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Bellhumor,
Yes.
Chair Mealy,
Yes.
carries. And if y'all bear with me 1 second, I didn't have at the beginning of this meeting any public comments for,
I was going to point that out.
but let me double check my email real quick and make sure none came in through the phone or.
And Penny, as we move through the business meeting for each item, if you would just say before we move to a vote on anything, if you would just say whether you've received any public comments on that action item.
No, all the ones I've received are nothing on the agenda, to do with nothing on the agenda, so. They're just general comments, and I don't have any for this special meeting, so if someone wants to adjourn, they can.
Okay, somebody make a motion to adjourn.
And for clarity, everybody, we are adjourning the organizational meeting and immediately reconvening the special meeting, so nobody log off.
To adjourn.
Second,
second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, and Penny, you let us know when you're ready.
I'm ready, roll right into it. I'm ready.
Okay. All right, this is a regular meeting of the Flagler Beach City Commission. It is Thursday, April 9th, 2020. And we will continue until all items are complete. So, I'm sorry, I'm moving papers around here. We did receive an email from Al Hadid. Would we put that after or like part of the consent agenda?
Jane, in my comments, Al talked to me. I'm going to hit some high points from that, but he really just sent that in to be a part of the record.
Okay.
If you'd like to read it, we certainly can, but I was gonna hit the high points on it in my staff report.
Oh, all right. Because I know previously we had made him part of the agenda.
Yeah, and that's why he called me today.
All right. So we don't have to read his whole email.
Correct. He sent that in so that the email could be attached to the agenda. He just asked me to hit some high points from it.
Great. Okay. All right, Penny, we have comments regarding items not on the agenda.
Yes, ma'am. We've received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 public comments at this time. One from YouTube, from Linda Wolf, and her comment is summarized to keep the beaches closed, please. I have another comment from Paul Harrington. His first comment is explain how the contractor is addressing concerns for Gopher Tortoise regarding the swale project. And it's my understanding a couple of commissioners will speak about that under commission comments, so I assume they'll address that then.
And also Fred has responded to him, I believe, or has responded on the issue anyway.
He also had another comment. He has heard, or it is, I guess, been seen several children playing in the water in the intercoastal near the discharge point. So he also made a public records request. But you guys have seen these. This is public. I received a comment from Don Davis, and to summarize his, he would like the beaches to be reopened. He feels the all or nothing approach is a regrettable loss for the residents. And he feels we should do what our neighboring counties have done. And he would suggest you keep the pier and boardwalk closed and post CDC guidelines at walkovers and only allow people on the beach and in the water in the mornings till 11 a.m. and then close it, and then again after 4. And then I received a comment from Mark Scammell, and his request is to reopen the beaches to reasonable activity such as running, walking, surfing, swimming, and fishing, and he welcomes any discussion on how that can be accomplished. And then I received a comment from former Commissioner Joy McGrew, and she was saddened at the responses in regards to a Flagler Live article regarding our city manager. And she feels we should support the manager. And some of us have made bad decisions and bad actions, but we recover from it and we shouldn't throw stones at each other. And the last comment I have is from, I believe it's from the Preserve Flagler Beach and Bulow Creek Inc. So the group is incorporated, and they're in support of the Flagler County the Shore campaign, and they feel after all the hurricanes and everything we went through in the natural disasters and the dune restoration is important, and they urge today for people to sign the easement that was mailed to them by the Army Corps of Engineers, giving them permission to restore the sand dunes on the ocean front. So that's summarizing the comments I've received so far.
Okay, thank you, Penny.
You're welcome.
Okay, now we move on to the consent agenda, which is just the minutes of the March 12th meeting, regular meeting, and the March 19th emergency meeting. Does anybody have any comments on either of the minutes? If
All the
not, I'll look
spelling
for a
right,
motion.
Jane?
I'm sorry?
Is all the spelling correct?
As far as I saw.
I'll make a motion to approve our consent agenda.
Second.
There's the second, okay. And all those in favor say aye.
Jane, before you do it, just because of the medium we're using, we're gonna let Penny call roll on everything for this one.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Select the votes.
I forgot. Sorry.
It was that second. I'm sorry, I missed it.
I think it was Ken.
I second, and I think someone else did as well.
Nope, I got it. Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Bellhumor,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
That's the motion.
Chair Mealy,
Yes. Okay, we have resolution 2020-11.
Resolution 2020-11, a resolution by the City Commission of the City of Flagler Beach, Florida, amending Resolution 2019-17, which adopted the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget to reflect the budget amendment to provide funds for year-end budget shortfalls, providing for conflict, providing an effective date hereof.
All right, Kathleen, where's Kathleen? There you are. Do you want to address this?
Muted.
You're on mute. You're on mute. There you go.
Okay, so there was 2 items that needed to be addressed by this resolution. The first one has to do with the slip lining project. And basically this is just to recognize the $500,000 grant and then the $500,000 expense to keep the budget balanced. So it's no effect at all on the unrestricted funds. And we also agreed that we had originally budgeted, I think $250,000, but we agreed that we were going to use an additional $171,000 of what we had budgeted. So the total project will cost $671,000, and we'll be paying for it with $500,000 worth of the grant money, plus the rest will come out of the unrestricted as we budgeted. The second one has to do with, it was an additional job that you guys approved back on February 13th with a contractor utility technicians, and it's to include some smoke testing along with the sewer rehabilitation project, and that amount was $69,750. So we do need to amend the budget and use unrestricted reserves for that particular line there.
Okay. Thank you, Kathleen. Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Kathleen, what do we have left in unrestricted funds reserves in the utilities?
I will have to prepare for that question. In the utilities, I would say roughly we have about $1 million of unrestricted funds.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll look for a motion. Somebody make a motion.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm catching up.
Penny, I believe it was Debbie. Debbie, that was you on the second, right?
Yes,
Correct,
yes.
yes.
And Penny, before you call the roll, just for the record, was there any public comment received on this item?
There was no, double check my mail. There was no public comment received on this item. So Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Bellhumor,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes, to the motion.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Chair Mealy.
Yes. All right, item number 6, consider awarding the bid for the water valve improvements to Florida Flow. Fred, do you want to speak to this?
Can you hear me there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we made we had an emergency break on our water line on Palm Drive, and we've talked to the contractor. We're actually going to just want to award just the base bid right now for the valves, and utilize that other money, remaining money, to help pay for the emergency repair we have to do on Palm Drive. And we're continuing to study the valve program, and I expect to do an additional valve installation next year once we ascertain what valves we need to install.
Okay, does anybody have any questions of Fred?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah, it has to do with the sidewalks where the contractor is working with that underground utility work. And you've done quite a bit of damage on the sidewalk there. Will they be putting that sidewalk back in the condition in which it was before with concrete as opposed to the temporary asphalt?
Yeah, the water valve installation bid requires all the restoration be done as part of the each of the valve bid items.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else?
Fred,
Fred, yeah, I had a question for
I'm
Fred.
sorry, Rick, go ahead.
I just wanted to let Fred know that I think Commissioner Bryan was referring to the Tico Gas Company, the work they're doing on Palm Drive.
Oh, is that the question?
Actually, that was the question we had.
Yes.
Well, if that was the question, Tico Gas hit our water line, our 16-inch water main that goes across the river. And we are filing an insurance claim with them right now. And we are actively, we did some emergency, hired a design consultant, and we had 4 proposals submitted, and we have a PO issued. It's over $90,000 to repair this 16-inch water line. And so we don't lose, we're gonna run the city, we're gonna isolate that area. So, and we'll be able to operate the water system off the east side, off the water tanks on the east side and the water plant on the west side for a day, a short period of time. That's kind of basically the logistics of it all. These valves are very expensive. You have to stop the water on both sides, make the repair, and then you have to restore the road, the sidewalk, and everything else as far as, and maintain traffic. So we've got detailed costs on that, but we have to go ahead with that. We're trying to get that repaired as quickly as we can.
Okay, so just keep us informed on the timeline because I did have a lot of constituents on that particular street wondering what was going on.
All right, so Tico will ultimately be responsible for the damage they did.
All I can tell you is we're filing a claim, an insurance claim.
Yeah, I understand that, but I want to make sure we follow up on this stuff here and don't have any lapse where we have to actually legally go after something like that. I just appreciate if you just stay on.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on this item?
Yes, I had a couple questions for Fred.
Okay,
Fred, originally this item was to approve a bid package. So that's being altered, am I correct?
We're awarding the base bid only. We're not altering anything. We're just not awarding the alternates at this time.
And how does that split up? I mean,
Okay,
is
I
it
can tell you.
half and half or what?
The base bid total was $123,700. So that's what you're approving tonight, $123,700. That's the base bid to Florida Flow Control.
So how does that work when you, well, okay, we haven't approved a bid package yet. So I guess the stuff that we're not checking off on is going to be delayed until a later date, correct?
Yeah, we can come back to you and issue approval of those later on. Once we get, hopefully we'll get a reimbursement from Tico very quickly, and we can go ahead and award those alternates later on. But we thought it'd be prudent not to award them at this time.
Okay, so the valves have to be put in the main so that it can be repaired.
Yeah, we have to put line stops on both sides of the break, large 16-inch line stops, and you have to build thrust blocking, pour concrete, let the concrete set. You have to open up the road. You have to dig a large trench. You have to have the outage, and then you have to put the valve. This includes we're gonna get a 16-inch valve installed, so we will have a shutoff valve then, and we have to put about 20 feet of 16-inch pipe together.
Last comment?
Yeah, well, just to follow up with Fred, we have to create some sort of bypass so we don't shut the water off while this repair is being done, right?
No, that's the advantage of the line stop. You stop you stop the water on both sides. We operate the east side of the city with our 1.5 million gallons of storage. And you operate the west side, the remaining minor west side with the water plant supply.
Okay, all right, that explains it. Thank you.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, can you add something?
No, I was just going to ask, just want to make sure that if there's going to be any kind of interruption, that there would be some signage or some kind of notification to the folks out there so they would understand what was happening.
You're not coming across real clear with me. I'm sorry. I can't
I
hear
said,
you.
just want to make sure that if there was going to be any kind of interruption, that the users out there, the neighbors and all would understand by signage or some kind of a notification.
Yeah, that's the part why it is so expensive, because we don't want to have a disruption to our customers. Okay.
All right.
We
Okay.
don't want to shut the whole city water supply down for a day.
Totally
The fire chief would probably have a problem with that, among other people.
I know a lot of people would too.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything? So I'll look for a motion to approve the bid award.
I'll make
Motion
that
to
motion.
approve. Go ahead, Rick.
All right, Debbie, I think Debbie was first, so then,
Motion to approve considering award bid FB 20-1203.
All right, I'll second.
okay. And Penny, we didn't have any public comments on this one?
No, ma'am, there were no public comments on that item. So if you're ready for the roll call,
Yep.
Commissioner Belhumer,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes to the motion.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Chair Mealy.
Yes. Okay, move on to item number 7, awarding a bid for the public Dune walkovers. And Penny, who's addressing this, you or Jeff or?
If you have any questions, I'll let Jeff address them. But this is the last batch for the walkovers from damage from Hurricane Matthew, actually. We currently have a separate bid that we awarded to another contractor, and he's working on ones on the north side and a couple on the south. He might have already done those, but this is mainly for the south side. And these have been identified in the Florida Emergency Management Services, our FEMA project worksheets 529 and 530. So, any questions?
Jeff, did you have anything else you wanted to add to what Penny said?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, really to get ahead of, I know Commissioner Belhumer was familiar with Intron Technologies' original design. I just want to assure you they are putting their piles through the deck as per the original Commissioner. I just wanted you to be aware of that. That their design that they used before will not be utilized. They're required by the bid documents to use a different design. So I wanted to point that out to you. And we will keep a close eye on their steps. Those were the two issues we had before. And so we don't anticipate having those issues this time. The other thing for the commissioners is we are requiring 8 feet deep into the sand. You know, DEP requires 5 feet. We've gone to 8 feet. Just seems like there's more and more erosion, and we just need to get ahead of that. Other questions that you might have?
They're using round pilings?
Yes, ma'am. They are. They're using round posts, and there's splicing is absolutely prohibited.
Good.
And just to give you an information on that, the 6-inch piles, traditionally you can only get those at 16 feet, the 6-inch round piles. And the situation we had on North 23rd Street where the secant wall was, you know, with the 16-foot drop,
Right.
We had to give them a waiver to go to 8-inch so that we could get longer piles in order to prohibit any splicing. That was a no on that. So I just wanted to reassure you on that. No splicing. And if they require any piles that are going to be longer than 16 feet, I'm going to make them go to an 8-inch pile and just get a waiver on and give them a waiver on that. See, we're between a rock and a hard place because DEP only allows up to 6-inch. So we have to be real careful and judicious when we use the 8-inch pile. I just wanted to clarify that for everyone.
Well,
Thank you.
appreciate that, Jeff. I'm grateful that we're not piecing these pilings together, especially
Yes.
at those lengths.
Absolutely. You're exactly right.
Now, your 8-foot depth, is that like up in the area where you have the deep dunes, the new dunes, and they're going into is that going down to the mean high water line and below that, or is it just 8 feet into the loose dune?
It's 8 feet into the dune.
Okay.
If you know what I'm saying.
Right. And even those last two bottom pilings will be 8 feet deep.
Yes, they're supposed to be 8 feet. That was the whole point. We wrote on the beach to try to make it 8 feet and get it down as far as we can, because it just creates more problems.
Yeah, they're the two most critical ones.
In 5 feet, we just, you saw it, Commissioner.
Right.
We had some of the 5 feet we had wash over the weekend, and we'd lose 3 or 4 feet. So
the redesign you speak of, in what way was it redesigned again?
Well, you remember
going back close to what we had originally, or what?
That's correct. You remember Intron Technologies did the original 5, and they did it, and they stopped the piles at the deck. You remember that? And then built the frame up. It still looks good, but the intent, and you and I discussed this, and we wanted to make sure the piles were through the deck. And that's what we've gone back to.
And created the handrails at the same time.
That's correct. Okay. That's correct. And there will only be aluminum handrails, no plastic handrails or no wood. So it's consistent. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm glad to see that I think we have the oversight we need on these dune walkovers. I appreciate it, Jeff.
Thank you, sir.
All right, when Rick mentions oversight, that was going to be my question. Who is overseeing this?
Yes, I am overseeing it, and I'll be doing. I've already made 3 field reviews of it. I'll be making another field review Monday and maybe Tuesday. What I'd like to do is do a pre-construction. I always do a pre-construction meeting to get everybody on the same page. I'll do that with Intron, so that they understand exactly what the city expects moving forward.
Great, thank you.
Did I miss something and not get back up to this item?
It came out later. So it came out probably Monday or Tuesday of this week. It was emailed to you.
It should be a detailed list of the bidders. There were 3 bidders, Commissioner, and the engineer estimate. I like putting all that on there so it's transparent for the public and for the commissioners on exactly each bid, the estimate, and everything.
I think I put it in the packs before I delivered it too.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that format okay with y'all? I just like putting more information in there so you know exactly.
Yeah, that's great.
The details. Good.
Okay, so who were you suggesting that we're giving the bid to?
We were recommending Intron Technologies.
Okay.
The total was $246,356, and that's with the one alternate, and that was below the engineer's estimate, and about 60,000-70,000 below the second bidder.
Oh, okay.
So we got a very good bid.
Very good. And that includes having to move all those rocks around to get the pilings in, right?
That's correct on some of the few on the south end. The beauty of that, though, is they worked on 3 of those before, so they
Right, so
understand
they know what they
exactly
got to do to
what they
pick
have
those
to do.
rocks.
And
Yeah.
that's always a concern. That's a great comment.
Okay. Thanks again, Jeff.
Mhm.
And
This is all reimbursable from FEMA.
Yes, ma'am. It's a
Now, that's
FEMA
important for the
project.
public to know that.
Absolutely, for the project worksheet and all of that is reimbursable. Yes, ma'am.
So it's 25, 75, 12 and a half from the state and 12 and a half from us, right, Jane?
As far as I understand, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, anybody else have anything?
you did have one public comment on that. This came in through email. It was from, it was from Paul Harrington, and, oh, come on, don't look up on me. His comment was that there's still sand piles up on the north, and let me give it to it. Sorry. He says there are places at the north end where there's still 8 foot of sand fill. That's his comment.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else before we vote on this? Okay, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we award bid number FB 2020-0204.
Second,
A second.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes to the motion.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Bellheimer,
Yes.
Chair Mealy.
yes. All right, item number 8, ratify commission action from the March 19th emergency meeting to place a temporary waiver on section 5.03.35B of the land development regulations. And this was about the water bills.
Right, so Kathleen got information from Palm Coast regarding what they were doing. And it appears that they are waiving disconnections, and they've also waived late fees and penalties. But I think Kathleen was recommending we not do that because I believe some of our loans are based on that revenue. And I did receive an email public records request just for information from News Journal Today asking what we were doing about it. And I informed them that it was no shutoffs for the month of March, and that we would probably be extending that decision tonight. And we didn't have a decision on penalties or late fees.
Okay, so let's deal with the shutoffs first. We had already agreed to no shutoffs in March.
Right.
Would anybody wish to talk to extending that into April?
Chair, I would.
I'd like to absolutely extend it, considering the environment that we have and some hardships a lot of people are actually experiencing right now.
Okay, thank you. Ken, anybody else?
I concur. I think we ought to extend this. We had no idea what position we'd be in at this time when we initiated this, but I think we should extend it on till probably through the rest of the emergency, as long as we're declared an emergency situation.
Drew, do you have any opinion on that? Should we do it 30 days at a time, or should?
I like Rick's idea. That's what I was jumping in to say. You certainly have the ability to tie this to the governor's executive order. So you could move to suspend. Well, it depends on which order you want to tie it to. You could tie it to the stay-at-home, or you could tie it to the emergency declaration, either one. But you could suspend water shutoffs during the term of the governor's declaration of emergency related to COVID-19. or alternatively during the term of the governor's stay-at-home order related to COVID-19.
Isn't the stay-at-home order tied to the emergency declaration?
Yes, but the emergency declaration may outlive the stay-at-home order.
Yeah,
He could terminate
be
that
around for a
stay-at-home
long
order before
time.
he terminates the emergency.
County still declared an emergency for Matthews, so I don't think we want to go for years on it.
So what do you recommend?
Well, if you tie it to the stay-at-home order, that's certainly, that's the primary concern because it would be very difficult to justify turning off somebody's water when the governor has ordered them to stay at home. So if you wanted to tie it to the stay-at-home order, and then if that is lifted at some point prior to the emergency declaration being lifted, you could always readdress this item at that time.
Okay. All right.
Or possibly add 15 days or 30 days to after the end of a stay-at-home order.
Certainly feasible too, yes.
All right, I think Kathleen wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to make the public aware that yes, we are not going to shut off your water, but your bills are not going to be forgiven. So that.
Well, we're doing those two issues separately, Kathleen.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I just thought the shut off issue might be easier to settle first.
Okay.
Okay. Eric, did you want to say something?
No, I was in line with Rick about the emergency period.
Me as well. I'm in total agreement not to shut anybody's water off during these trying times.
I concur.
Sorry. Penny, sorry. Penny, do you need a motion, or Drew, do we need a motion?
Yes, we need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we continue with not charging for or not shutting off the water for at least in 30 days beyond the time that the stay-at-home order is lifted.
And for clarity on that motion, Rick, that includes water, wastewater, and garbage, correct?
Yes, the utility portion of the bill.
And does it also include ratifying the commission direction from March 19, 2020 on the same topic?
Yes.
Thank you.
Second that.
I'll second.
I got Eric already.
Oh, okay.
Commissioner Phillips.
Did you already say whether you received public comment on this one, Penny?
Let me check. I did not. I had not received it earlier. Let me look here, make sure. No, I have no public comment on this item. Okay, so Commissioner Phillips.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan.
Yes.
Commissioner Bellhumor.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley.
Yes, the motion.
Chair Mealy.
Yes. I'm sorry, I did not cough all day. All right, now the part about the penalties.
Chair, I had a comment.
Go ahead.
I'm going to recommend that we waive late fees and penalties, and I'll tell you why. We as a city cannot expect our citizens to stay at home if they're facing penalties or late fees or anything like that. It's almost a contradiction. We have to do everything we can as a city to enable our citizens to stay at home while the order is in place to stay at home. I don't want to put somebody in a position where they have to be torn between, do I let penalties and late fees build up, or do I go out and do a potential non-essential activity or business to try to cover that? It is speaking from both sides of your mouth, and I don't think that that's the right direction. I know it's going to put us in a tough spot, but I think that's the right thing to do is give our citizens everything they have to be able to stay at home.
Yeah. Chair, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Kathleen, what penalties and what are late fees typically? Just for my own understanding, how much do we charge in these fees on a monthly basis?
Penalty is 10% of your bill, and then we charge an interest of 1.5%. So
On top of that.
on top of that. Mhm. It amounts citywide, it amounts to about $4,000 to $5,000 a month currently.
Well, I would suggest that we waive those fees along the same lines, same reasons that Eric is, for possibly the same period of time that we just made the last motion, making it 30 days beyond the stay-at-home order.
I have to concur with the two previous commissioners.
On those, sorry, Ken, go ahead.
I was going to say there are a lot of folks hurting, so I think that we can probably try to make an impact at the city in order to try to accommodate some of this.
I was just going to ask for clarification on that. As far as the waiver, would that, just for your discussion, would that waiver include back to March 1, 2020, which is when the state of emergency was declared? So would that include late fees that are coming due from today forward or from March 1 forward?
From the point that we started forgiving these fees to start with, didn't we?
No.
Okay.
Your emergency meeting was March 19th. That's why I asked the question. I'm just looking for the start point at which that we would forgive those late fees and penalties, if that's the direction that it takes.
I would say that at the point of our last meeting.
I agree with that.
Kathleen, have we gotten many people not pay their bills that don't normally pay, that normally do pay their bills? You're on mute, Kathleen. Kathleen, you're on mute.
Sorry.
Okay.
We're kind of in the middle of the cycle, because the bills are not due until the 20th of the month. We assess penalties for March. That would be a big endeavor to undo on everybody's account, but we could do it. I mean, I'm just saying it will take staff time to do that sort of thing. And just, I always hate being this person, but on my concern with this is that people may accrue really large bills, and that's my only big concern. They're not going to get shut off, and they could accrue really large bills and then have that hardship at the end. But I understand the time, so just.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who aren't working.
Right.
They're not making any money. So you're saying we would lose about $5,000 a month?
Well, that's what the current penalties are. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean.
All right, are we talking about, we're just waiving the penalties and we're not waiving the monthly bill?
No.
Right.
Correct.
Well,
That would be a lot of money.
No, I don't suggest that at all, Jane.
Okay. Because I know we need the
Just the
money.
penalties.
We need the money from the bills to run the plant and all that.
Yes.
Understood. And if they get in a real serious bind, like we have in the past with people, maybe we can work out payment plans for those that are challenged.
Yeah, I had that question too, Kathleen, and you're muted again. Are you muting or is Jared doing it? Here we go. What was I going to ask you?
Payment plans? Is that what you're talking
Yeah, payment plans. Is there some minimum amount that, like, if my water bill is normally $100, just for an easy number, $100 a month, and I can't pay it for 3 months, is there as a payment plan?
We deal with it on a case by case basis. A lot of times we do payment plans when somebody's had a terrible leak. So now they have their normal bill is $100 and they have a $500 water bill. We generally just come up with a lump sum and a number of payments for them to make that from. But we also, part of our process is to require that those people do go on. If you have a payment plan, you have to sign up for the automatic ACH withdrawal.
Okay.
And you
Thank you.
have to, I'm sorry, one last thing. So you have this payment plan, let's just say you have to pay $100 a month on your payment plan, but you also have to keep your current bill current. So, but we do work with everybody that, you know, has had these type of the terrible issues when you have a huge leak and, you know, we have to. pay for the
Right,
water.
but now we're dealing with people who have lost their jobs. and,
Right, right.
Have
We will-
have we had those in the past?
People lose their jobs.
Yeah,
We've tried to work with people, but mostly we do payment plans not on your regular bill. We do it generally if you've had a leak, something that makes your bill out of the ordinary.
right.
So, I mean, the software does have the process of doing this. You know, I think, you know, we would be capable of doing it. It's just, it would be a big endeavor, just to let you know that part.
Kathleen, what would be the easiest starting point for us to do this? When did March bills?
It would be easiest if we started it with the bills that will go out at the end of April, which would be for your, you know, you're being billed in arrears anyway. So I think it would capture most of the March, what was it, March 19th or something when we set that? So we bill in arrears. So yes, it would, if the April billing is going to be for your usage during the beginning of April and the end of March. So I'm just saying, yes, I think that would be a good idea to start with the billing that's going to occur at the end of April.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, how to word a motion.
Okay. Ken, did you have further comment?
No, I think I concur with Kathleen as far as the process that she's talking about now as far as being.
Okay. Anybody else? Eric,
Yes, I have
Debbie?
something. I have something, please.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Kathleen, not so much for the water, but I did talk to Mr. Newsom at one time about the garbage for a lot of these businesses that are closed down. And they typically, especially restaurants, will get 3 or 4 pickups a week. And now they're closed and not getting any pickups. And he said there may be something we can do as far as that too with the garbage bills.
Yes, what we've been doing, we decided a couple of weeks ago, was because of the restaurants having to close, you know, with a commercial account, it's kind of like you pay for the services you need. So if you no longer need us to come pick up your business 4 or 5 times a week, then you need to contact the sanitation department, talk to our new supervisor, Rob Smith. He'll stop by, assess your needs, and you can fill out a new form, and we will, you know, change your rate to that. And then when things return and your business picks up, you do the same thing. You contact sanitation department, and Rob will come out and take care of assessing your needs at that point. So that does save you money. And, you know, especially if you're, for instance, a larger restaurant that was paying, you know, several $100s a month for pickups, now you can drop it down to our minimum if you're only needing 2 cans twice a week or something like that.
Linda, you okay now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So Rick, you were working on a motion, I think.
Yeah, make a motion that we forgive any late fees and penalties for utility bills from the period of when the bills come out the end of April, I believe Kathleen said, through the time, through the end of our, through 30 days beyond the end of the stay-at-home order.
Second.
Okay.
Do you need something, did you need something added to that for the garbage?
You said utilities.
Okay.
So, okay. Commissioner O'Brien,
Yes.
we didn't get a second, did we? I'm sorry. Was there a
Yeah,
second?
yeah, Ken. Yes, we did.
Who was the second?
Ken.
Okay. Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Belhumeur,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes to the motion.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Chair Mealy.
Yes. All right, then we have discussion and possible action regarding the succession plan for the acting city manager and the acting city manager. Linda, that was your item.
Yes, I had called Drew earlier in the week when the succession plan went out again for the second time and asked him if we needed some clarity, if we should, as a commission, go ahead and approve this. And the employees and the commission knew about the succession plan, but there's a lot of people in the public that weren't aware of it. So he thought this would be a good thing just to put on the agenda and have everybody agree to it.
And Linda, did you want to discuss the other part of that conversation? Just as far as making sure that Mr. Newsom is taking care of himself and taking the time he needs to get himself well from the infection he's been dealing with, which that I don't think was COVID, but to make sure that he is encouraged to kind of sit still and let the people that he's put on that succession plan do the job that he's appointed them for.
Yes.
Did I say that fairly, Mayor?
That was perfect. Great job.
And I think the period we talked about was 30 days for that, for Mr. Pace pursuant to that succession chart to be the acting city manager.
Yes, unless, if we do meet again this month and if Mr. Newsom is back to feeling better and has been cleared, then we can revisit it then for him to come back.
Yes, ma'am. You can revoke it at any time, frankly, and you could extend it if necessary. But yes, ma'am, you can do that.
Okay,
Well, since the mayor can't make the motion, I will.
go ahead.
Just what Drew said.
I'll repeat that for everyone's benefit. So
We haven't heard that in a while.
for the commission to ratify the succession plan put out by the city manager and to appoint in accordance with that succession plan, appoint Bobby Pace as the acting city manager for a period of 30 days and to encourage Mr. Newsom to sit still and be well and let his succession chart do the job he's appointed them to do. Is that your motion, Rick?
Sound pretty good to me. Did you put the 30-day on there, or we don't?
I believe I did have enough doubt. That would be for a period of 30 days on the acting city manager, Bobby Pace, subject to the city being able to revoke that earlier if necessary or desired by the commission.
Sounds like what I was thinking.
Penny, did you get it?
Get all that, Penny?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
So, Commissioner Belhumeur,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes to the motion.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Chair Mealy.
Yes. Does Bobby get a vote?
However the commission is directing, I'm fine with it.
Congratulations, Bobby.
We didn't have enough going on, so a little bit more. It's
You'll act like it's a great thing.
All right, moving on to commission comments. And I know we usually start with the mayor, so we will start with the mayor.
Okay. I just want to welcome Commissioner Phillips and Commissioner Bryan. These are interesting times to be starting out as an elected official. Hopefully next time we will get to meet in person. And although it's kind of nice sitting at home, sitting back, so I'm not going to lie, didn't have to get dressed up.
Yes, from
welcome.
here up.
Yeah, from here up. Welcome, and I look forward to working with both of you. While people are sitting at home, I will remind them, fill out your census. That's still going on. You have plenty of time, so take the time to fill out the census. I don't really have any meetings to report on because there haven't been any meetings, which is Also kind of a nice feeling to look at your calendar and it's wide open. Fred, I don't know if you want to address this or I had Penny forward all of you the emails that I've received from a resident about the Gopher Tortoises and the Swale project. And I'm sure you guys have received phone calls as well. So I just, for clarity, Fred, can you explain what exactly is going on with the dirt being put by the burrows being dug and the dirt being put on property and
Yeah.
who's being held accountable?
Yeah, I'd be glad to, Mayor. Last week, you know, we've been aware that there were gopher tortoises, and our inspector had already spoken to the contractor, and we have a very active residents that call in, and they're obviously concerned about the gopher tortoises. I met with the wildlife manager. The days sort of run together, but I think it was either early this week or late last week. He came in and we talked with the inspector, and he was very comfortable with what we were doing. The swale project's only supposed to go 8 feet off the edge of the road. However, our residents are very industrious, and I guess one contractor, a resident contractor, talked to a truck driver, and I know a truckload of dirt was deposited down at the south end off Central, which was not good. I understand it was on top of a gopher tortoise burrow. I spoke to Scott Dack late yesterday by phone, and he told me that he had met with the owner and that they were in the contractor and they were going to get it cleared off this morning. And I understand that did occur. I know there was a bunch of residents out there raising Cain with the contractor and the inspector while that was being done, but my understanding is that got done. I made 3 calls to our wildlife contact, Scott Dack, this afternoon. I was unsuccessful in confirming. I wanted to confirm that with him before this meeting tonight so I could tell you, you know, firsthand that he was okay. My understanding is he is okay. I saw some emails from residents which indicated the biggest person bringing it to our attention that it had, they were clearing it off. So we're going to continue to be cognizant of the gopher tortoises. I've been telling residents to mark them and give me the addresses, and I've been passing that on to the inspector and the contractor. I pretty much chewed out the contractor in writing and verbally about dumping dirt on private property. They'd been warned earlier in the project. I could see it going to occur. I didn't realize that it was going to be deposited on gopher tortoises. However, I think we dodged a bullet. The contractor promises me they're not going to put any more dirt on any private property for the rest of the project. And I haven't heard anything to the effect of the fines. I let the contractor know if there were any fines imposed that he was going to have to pay them because they did it. And the city of Flagler Beach had told them that they could not do that.
Okay, I guess my question is, we've had some residents go out and mark the burrows, but who is ultimately responsible for going and walking those properties, especially the vacant ones, and marking them?
Our right of way, I understand, is clear, okay, of impingement on the tortoises, okay? I know of no tortoises in the right of way. Okay, there are tortoises obviously on the private properties, and the contractor is working on his own if he dumps this dirt. This dirt is owned by the contractor, okay? It's owned by him. That's the way its contract is written. However, if he, you know, he's liable. He's basically liable, and he's been told on notice, he's been put on notice that if he does this, you know, he could be fined. And I've talked to the supervisor and have it in writing, and he promises me they're not going to be putting any more dirt on private property. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but that's my opinion.
Mayor, I got some
The nice-
comments whenever you're done.
Yeah. My concern is we have rules in place for anybody that's does any moving of dirt in this city, that they're required to have a Gopher Tortoise expert come clear their property for them and submit a letter to that effect to the city before they start any work. So is the contractor not obligated to do the same? And if so, why not?
Well, the scope of this project is 800 homes and all the right of way out in front of those homes. Okay. I had no, and I still think I was correct. There's no tortoises in the rights of way. Okay. And basically the right of way goes 15 feet off the edge of the road, and the grading and the design only went off 8 feet off the edge of the road. So you have 7 feet more till you get on a private property. Okay, so I don't really feel, as long as the contractor worked within the scope of the project, he shouldn't have had any issues with Gopher Tortoises, in my opinion.
Chair,
Okay.
Linda, you
That's
mind
it.
if I piggyback on your stuff?
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna cut to the chase. This contractor, we've had numerous issues with, from incorrect swale depths to not using traffic control devices with equipment blocking roadways, to communication, to now they're dumping dirt on private property, which just so happens to have Gopher Tortoises on it. Why on earth they're dumping dirt on private property is beyond me. We even have designated area at our treatment plant to put dirt, sand, and anything else if they needed a spot. This type of behavior is just gross negligence. What I would like to do is just see if we as a commission just want to put a pause to this entire project with this contractor until Larry comes back, and look at removing them from the project. This has been going on the whole time.
We have a current grant that runs out in June. You could apply for an extension. You would get in all kinds of contract litigation to throw them off at this point in time. A couple more weeks, they're going to be basically done.
But they're going to be done incorrectly. And then they're going to have to go back and fix all the stuff that they've done incorrectly. That's not the type of work that we do.
I guess that's your opinion, I guess. You're entitled to your opinion, but I don't agree with that. The sod's going to be replaced. I told them clearly weeks ago, if the sod wasn't acceptable, they're going to replace the sod. If that's the issue. If the grading is not done correctly, they're going to revise the grading.
Well, I have to put in my 2 cents worth as well. I have to agree with Commissioner Tooley in that I don't know if we have to provide closer oversight. I don't think we should have to be out there supervising when you're paying them to do the job. But I certainly think that there needs to be something to the record to the effect that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and they're in violation of various possible laws. And even if it's just a verbal reprimand, making them aware that there may be some liability issues at the end of this contract, I think would be prudent on our part. But I mean, Drew, you can give us some guidance on this, but I think it's pretty clear that we need to send a message to this individual or the company to let them know that their performance is not acceptable.
Anybody else?
I have a question for Drew. Drew, if we were to stop the project right now, would there be any legal implementation?
My suggestion to you would be, if you want to direct your staff to pause the project right now, but I would not take any formal action to stop that until we can bring a formal agenda item to you that you can vote on.
Okay. Ken, can you talk a little bit about, we know that a lot of the swales the depth was too deep. as well as the grass. Has any of that been rectified to date, or is that something that's kind of on their to-do list?
Some of that's been rectified, some of it hasn't been.
Fred has assured me that everything, you know, the dead grass that was put down, the fact that the grass doesn't match the grass that was removed in some cases, the fact that some of the sod is higher than the road, so the water can't even get in the swale, that all those issues will be resolved before this project's checked off on. So I just hope we have a little closer oversight on this from here on out. And I think Fred will see to it that that happens.
Well, that's loud and clear. I appreciate those comments. And I appreciate Eric's comments as well, Commissioner Cooley's comments as well. And we will, I've been having a tough discussion with him. It may need to get a little tougher.
And Rick, I'm going to have to just, you know, differ with you and just put it out there. We're past assurances. This contractor has violated the scope of our project on almost every single level you could violate it on, with subpar work and not following what they're supposed to do. They're not completing the work in good faith. They're not going back and correcting their work in good faith. And just today, they're dumping dirt on private property. And I have no faith that this contractor is going to follow any of this unless we step in and micromanage them all the way to the end. And I don't think that that's something that we should be having to do, number one. And I think our citizens deserve better. But I wanted to put it out to the commission so you'll have a consensus, or not a consensus, about what we want to do with them. But putting blind faith to the end of the project, I think we're past that point.
Fred, I have something to offer in light of you know, the discussions that we're having and the issues that we're having as well. Would it be possible? I know it's possible, but at the next commission meeting, could you give us an update as to where we are and whether or not we're on target as far as rectifying some of the problems and moving forward?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm having a little trouble understanding Ken. I think what I heard you say was that if they can fix what's wrong in the next 2 weeks till we get to our next meeting, then we just let them finish what they're doing. And Fred had said they'd probably be close to done in the next 2 weeks anyway.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what we would accomplish by stopping now.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying, but I was also asking that he give us an update at the next meeting as to whether or not the issues that we have of concern have been rectified and whether or not he's moving ahead in good faith. And at that particular time, we'll have a better idea to know if we can continue moving or just go ahead and just stop work order right now. At that particular 2 weeks.
Okay. That's what I thought I heard you say, but I wasn't sure.
Jane, we hired a project manager better part of 2 years ago, I think. That would be Lee, correct?
Yes.
So maybe we can just get a little closer oversight by our project manager.
Fred, is that work?
Currently, he's at home, recovering from, hopefully he'll be back next week.
Okay. So in the meantime, you're the project manager?
Yeah,
You're the inspector?
We have a paid consulting inspector. We've been managing hundreds of phone calls. You know, we can't have meetings out there anymore. We are knocking on doors. We're making phone calls back to the residents and explaining to them everything, what is going to occur. The word has gotten out. They're probably 80% of the excavation is done. I would say 60%, maybe 50 to 60% of the sodding is done. Some of it is dead sod. We had one of the driest marches on history. And we told the contractor to get out there and water the sod. If you don't, it dies, you're gonna be replacing it. Well, clearly at the north end of South Daytona, there's a lot of dead sod. I mean, I drove it, I wrote it down. I know where it is. I mean, I'm a farm boy from Ohio. I know when grass is dead, it's not coming back. It's pretty obvious. So they know they're gonna have to replace a lot of this grass, not a whole lot of it, but some of it. I guess they're praying it's gonna come back, but a lot of it's not gonna come back. I know there was they've been rolling the sod, getting truckloads of rolled sod come out the last couple of days, and they're speeding it along that way. So they're picking up speed, but I have not been real happy with their, they basically pulled out for about 2.5 to 3 weeks. A contractor, you put a timeline in for them and you hope they're gonna hurry up and get done. And then they got other projects. And I basically told them, you better get here, you better stay here, and you better get the job done. So April is they're basically pushing the envelope in April. So they're pushing to get done right now.
So
Well,
if you go back to them and you tell them the discussion we had tonight, that there were some commissioners who actually wanted to stop the project and fine them for what wasn't being done correctly, and we put that off for 2 weeks, would that kind of message get through to them, that you think?
Yes, ma'am. And I told them earlier this week that I was going to get chewed out tonight, and I wasn't real happy about it. And they better get their act together, and they better get some sod down. They've been laying some sod, pretty serious sod the last couple of days. But we're going to stay on them. It's been a real tough project with all the other projects I'm operating. It's really been trying with Lee being out, and but we're getting near to the finish line. I think we're probably at the 20-yard line going in for a touchdown. I don't know if it'll be a touchdown, but I think we're going to finally get to the end here shortly.
Yeah, I know you're real busy, and I know the whole staff is busy, but the problem I have is when somebody's hired to do something, they do it, or we turn loose. I mean, that's how I handle my own personal businesses, and I think that, we should probably look at this the same way, and I'm in agreement with.
Yeah. I appreciate Commissioner Cooley's comments. We were 40 or 50% done. I would say, yeah, we'll just, cut them off at the neck and go to somebody else. But we're 75 to 80% done. Our grant is running out. We had the A1A detour, so I had to stay off Central till the end. We sort of delayed the start of this project because of the detouring. Our June is our deadline. June is just around the corner. So I would say by mid-May, they're going to need to be done. If not end of April, the first week in May, that they better be done.
Hey, Fred, your list of complaints, please add in amongst that the sloppy job that they're doing when they're putting this sod down. They could do a little bit neater job of in a lot of places with the sod that they're laying.
Yeah, I agree. Quality has not been very good.
No, and we're paying for it, and and I'm glad that all this dead sod that got put down, that isn't something we paid for or plan on paying for. So all these things need to be corrected. So if you can pass that through to them and put them on notice that they're on thin ice, then
I will certainly communicate that.
That you're on thin ice.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Fred.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I think we left off with Linda.
I'm done.
You're done? Okay. Trying to think. Eric, would you like to go next?
I can go next. I have quite a few items, so hopefully I can move through these pretty quick. First thing, want to thank Marshall and Kim for all the years of service for Flagler Beach. And I know they're not here right now, but I want to pass my thanks to them. And I learned a lot from them also along the way. And welcome Commissioner Bryant, Commissioner Phillips, along with Linda. So welcome and look forward to working together. One of the things I would like to propose and see if y'all like the idea is during this emergency, and we can decide whenever we want to stop it, but during the emergency, I'd like to know if y'all would like to do weekly short workshops where no action is taken, but where we can legally communicate with ourselves and staff and just all get on the same page. There's a lot of things moving very quick that, honestly, I'm hearing about after the fact. And I think a weekly workshop, not a post meeting, but just a plain workshop where no action's taken would be beneficial to us all. What do y'all think about that?
Are you proposing to do this at the same time every week?
Yeah, and it could be flexible as need be, and that would be up to staff and the chair of times, but just a short, a little time span to get on the same page via Zoom.
And those would be discussion only. There would be no action taken, which would actually make the public participation part. We wouldn't have to do the public participation because that's only required when we take action. So you could have a workshop discussion. We would use whatever platform to make sure it was open to the public. But since no action would be taken on anything that was discussed, we would not have to give the public period. That's a little bit challenging through the Zoom platform that we were kind of been. So I think those will go a little bit smoother than action meetings will.
All right. How do people feel?
I would suggest that we put a placeholder to do that. And if the situation requires that or one of us feel that we need to talk about some things, and then that's what we do.
I think it's a terrific idea. I felt like in the last couple of weeks being a new commissioner, I've felt kind of left out in the dark a little bit. I mean, obviously Matt calls me every day and gives me an update, but being new, it'd be nice to talk a little bit more frequently during these trying times.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. And if we don't feel like there's anything to talk about, then we don't have to have.
My suggestion would be if you're going to do it, to pick a time and put it on the calendar for the benefit of the public so that they have some certainty in what to expect. And then if you don't have anything that needs to be discussed, you could cancel it. I guess that would have to be the acting city manager's call as to whether to cancel it or not. But if he believed there was nothing new to bring up, then he could cancel that and we could get notice out to the public. But I would definitely do it that way. If you're going to do it, go ahead and set a standing time and day. That way the public knows to tune in if they don't get notice that it's been canceled.
Yeah, that's what I meant by placeholder.
Penny?
If Jared or Carlos are still on, since we are depending on them for this format and televising this, is it open on a day that's open on their calendar every week?
It's Jared. I'm on. Right now, if you guys would have anything on Tuesdays are pretty open. Wednesdays, I have a 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and then Thursdays we have a 4 to 6. That's static right now. So Tuesdays look pretty open if you guys want to be flexible. Other than that, just throw me some times that I can take a look. I'm looking at the schedule right now.
So we would still have our regular meetings on the second and fourth Thursdays, but have a weekly workshop once a week.
And I'm fine
I'm
with
okay
that.
with that.
Wait a minute, we have a workshop even on the week that we have a meeting?
That's your decision.
Eric, is that what you had in mind?
I think during the meeting week, it would be necessary. It's on the off weeks, so we can legally speak to each other.
So your workshops would be on Tuesdays and your regular meetings are the second and fourth Thursday. So the first and third Tuesday, you would have a workshop.
The other option would be is if you wanted to just stick with Thursday, this time frame, 6:30, I could.
I'd rather do that because we're used to Thursdays being taken up, if that's okay.
Not like we got other places to go, but I'm good with Thursdays.
I'm good with Thursday as well.
I'm okay with Thursday.
So Thursdays.
Good idea, Eric.
So we would do it at 6:30 every Thursday.
That's, I mean, if you can, I don't know if they have something on their calendar, 5:30, is 5:30 okay, Jared?
Thursdays, we have a 4 to 6 scheduled presently.
And I think, again, keeping a consistent time is probably beneficial to your public too.
I think so
That way they
too.
can mark it on their calendars and just, it's hard enough for all of us to keep track of days as it is. So one less thing that fluctuates week to week might be easier for your public.
Okay, 6:30 is fine with me. First and third workshop, second and fourth meeting.
I have it booked.
Okay.
When he gets to sleep in on Thursdays, come in late.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Eric, do you have anything else?
I do. I just want to put it out there, and this was brought up during public comment about the Flagler Live article. And Larry, my 2 cents on anything concerning our city managers, we don't even need to table that until Larry is back. We don't need to table anything concerning Larry until Larry's back. It's not even a discussion point. That's just my 2 cents. I wanted to cover that under commission comments. Some of y'all might feel different, but I definitely would not want to cover anything concerning city manager without city manager present. Next topic I want to extend a very, very big thank you to our citizens for the cooperation with the social distancing and the beach closure. I know that there's a lot of heartburn there, but I do want to extend a very big heartfelt thank you, because talking with Chief on a daily basis, the compliance for the beach and any other issues has been phenomenal. And that's a big credit to our citizens. So while we are on that topic, I do want to table, and I want to get thoughts from the other commissioners since we're all sitting down. We have a golf course here in town that is running full steam ahead. And I have concerns that, back in March, Department of Health and our director, our emergency director, Jonathan Lord, asked us to conduct ourselves as if COVID-19 was already in the community, and it is already in the community. We already have a fatality, and our demographics are the at-risk group. We are supposed to be leading and encouraging folks to stay at home and essential business only. I am of the opinion that a golf course does not fall under that. And I think that even though we have, a governor that thinks differently, myself as a person who thinks that safety trumps money, safety trumps recreation, I think that we need to not enable undesirable behavior. And we need to have the golf course follow the same thing we do with our parks and our beach and everything else. And I wanted to see what y'all thought about that.
I completely concur. That was one of my comments, but I agree with Commissioner Cooley on this.
Everybody else good with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Me too. I was surprised it was open.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
Rick?
Are all the other golf courses closed?
Some are, some aren't.
But if their clubhouse is closed, they're out. They're not in gatherings of high numbers of people. They're certainly out in the open air, and probably they can easily keep their 6 feet.
That's the same argument people use about the beach.
I mean, there are some golf courses that are operating, from what I've seen or read anyway, and they have specific restrictions where individuals have to use individual golf carts. Individuals that are obviously walking have to stay apart. It's hard to enforce that. And they have other kinds of things as far as when you're picking up the ball, that you have to use the pin itself. You can't reach in there and pick it up on your own. I mean, there are a lot of guidelines that they're using, but erring on caution, I would just say that, they have to follow the same guidelines as the individuals on the beaches right now, which is closed. That's just my opinion.
And I'm not wanting to completely shutter the golf course. They have a restaurant. If they want to follow the same guidelines that all our other restaurants follow as far as takeout food and that type of stuff goes, that part I have no issues with, but I have gotten numerous pictures and messages and all kinds of stuff from folks that live around there about how participants are not following social distancing. I know the operator of the course is trying his best. I know he's had tough times. I feel bad, but I also think that we need to, go in lockstep as a city and protect our citizens. We have a different demographic than all the other towns that are around here. Our demographic is much older and much more at risk. And to allow recreational behavior that is potentially, volatile and could spread this, I think is a miss on our end.
Anybody else?
I would just ask Drew, legally, since the governor hasn't said that golfing is.
But he did not say that it was exempt, so there's not a conflict with the executive order like there would be, for instance, with the church. So there's no conflict there. And the governor has stated, even though it seems to go back and forth, that the intent was not to prevent cities from enacting their own more stringent approaches to protecting the public from the risk. So I think we have the authority to move forward with it without being in conflict with what the governor's office has done.
So Drew, what is the message? Who relays the message to the golf course owner?
I think it would be if the direction of the city commission, Mr. Pace and I can work together and craft both an order from Mr. Pace as acting city manager to close golf courses, and that is the golf course, and we can appropriately communicate that to the golf course.
Thank you.
So do we have consensus on that? It wasn't quite clear to me that Eric, obviously, yes. Rick, what's you feeling?
I'm kind of on the fence. I think they should follow the same rules as any other restaurant as far as their clubhouse goes. But I hate to throw another bad thing towards their survival.
Ken?
I continue to agree with Commissioner Cooley. I think that, I got some calls and individuals are saying, if I can't go to the beach, why do the golfers have an opportunity to continue to golf? So I think
Okay.
the guidelines and restrictions should be possible.
All right, Debbie?
Yeah, I'm absolutely sympathetic as well, but I do believe they probably should. And I don't know if the clubhouse is offering any food, if they're following the restaurant guidelines or not.
I don't know.
That does kind of send the wrong message when we're making everybody stay off the beach. So I'm in agreement.
Okay. So Drew, is consensus enough?
Actually, on this one, just in case we get pushback, why don't you go ahead and give us a motion direct city manager to close the golf course within the city of Flagler Beach.
Okay.
For a certain period of time, Drew?
Yes, definitely. Do we want to say until the end of April to coincide with our social distancing, and then as that unfolds, then you can readdress your next meeting this month, or readdress before the 30th?
How about if we make it coincide with letting people back on the beach?
I'm okay with that.
As well.
Okay, so what that would mean is that if the county opens the beaches, then the golf course opens same time. Then that's okay. That's what everybody wants. I mean, that's what the idea is, Rick.
Yeah, because I don't think it's fair to our people to keep them off the beach while others that play golf are allowed to get their exercise out on the golf course. So I would think that they're kind of related in my mind.
Okay.
Okay, so I need a motion.
I have what Drew said.
Oh, okay. We're back to what Drew said.
Motion to direct the city manager to order the golf course closed during the term in which the Flagler County beaches are closed.
All right.
What you got, Penny?
Pretty much, yep.
And is
That's
that your
good.
motion, Rick?
Yes.
Is somebody going to second that?
Okay, I'll make that motion. Thank you, Drew.
Second.
Okay. We have motion and a second.
1 second, I'm sorry. My cursor moved. Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Bellhumor,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes, the
Chair Meal?
motion.
Yes. All right, Eric, next.
Yep, next topic, I'm getting wrapped up here. And before we move on, I just, want to remind everybody and the general public that we are very shortly going to be transitioning into the worst period of this epidemic. So I think that decisions like this are what are needed to support, keeping our citizens healthy. But I think we let it go as far as we could. Question for acting city manager: Are parks open or closed behind the library, meaning tennis courts, basketball courts, and whatnot?
Currently, we have the playground area that is closed. The tennis courts are closed with locks and signage. The areas, the basketball court is kind of a little bit of a more difficult situation. What we've asked to do is just to monitor it, and if it's becoming an issue with a lot of people congregating there, we would address it at the time. But what we've done with any of the parks that have any playground equipment, we've put caution tape. Any of the parks that have gates, we've put up caution tapes or locks and signage. To answer your question, it's kind of difficult to close off entirely the basketball court. We're just monitoring at this time.
And
Eric,
so it would be
I live right around the corner from there, and I've seen next to no activity there since they locked up the tennis courts.
okay. And I was just looking for, we can state as a city that, it is closed by title then, right?
It is closed. Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think that might be everything I got. Yes, that's everything I got. Sorry about the length. I appreciate y'all sticking with me through those comments.
Yeah, it was good items.
Yeah, good job,
All
Eric.
right.
I'm going to keep it short. I also want to thank our new commissioners, or congratulate them and welcome them to the board. Look forward to working with you through the rest of my tenure anyway. We've already beat the swale thing to death, so I'm not going to get into that. However, I have to say that I'm pretty disappointed in the oversight of some of these projects going on. We've got a lot going on in town. We've got A-frame repairs going on. We've got walkovers being built. We've got sewer issues being repaired. We got parking lot going on at the library. Repairs inside the building. Now, obviously, we got plenty of oversight there with their building official in the same building. But there's some cases that I'm pretty disappointed with their oversight on these things. Needless to say, the swale's the number one disappointment. But number two is this parking lot project. We've created, I don't know, somewhere close to 20,000 square feet of impervious surface over there. And the swale that's there, I hope it's really not a retention area. It's really just a depression right now and all the water off the parking lot goes in that depression, runs out the south end of it, and goes underneath the sidewalk and into the intercoastal. So the issue I have is why we as set a bad example by not even putting a silt fence up. And then when I did bring it to the attention of people, it still wasn't put up. If it rains again, everything is going to wash off that parking lot. It's going to go into that depression. I can't call it a containment area or a retention pond at this point, because it has a hole in the end of it. All the water runs right back out of it. Whatever it captures just runs out the south end. So I think at minimum, we ought to get a silt fence where it leaks out into the intercoastal and until this project's done. So I wanted to share that amongst all. So I just think that's it's sending a bad message to all the people that are being required to do that on their job sites. And then here we move 3 times as much dirt as anybody else has, and we didn't put up 1 stitch's silt fence. So I just think we need to follow up on that. I mean, we've got people working for us that can put silt fence up there rather easily, I believe. So I think we need to get that done. I don't know how the contractor wasn't obligated to do that, but I hope in the end that this retention area ends up being engineered to the degree that we require everybody else to engineer theirs, and it performs as promised. So the other thing I have, I don't know who can answer this question. We got these gas lines coming into town. Does anybody know how far and where they're going? If any of that's going to be available to the general public? All I know is they're kind of making a mess on their way to the unknown. The last time we asked our city manager about it, he was under the, he thought that they were kind of in an area that turns out it was in the state right away, but now they're continuing on through, well, Moody Lane's state right away too. But is that where it's going away ends, or are we going to be getting our streets dug up too? And if so, how far is it going? And are our residents going to be able to use this gas that's coming into town? Does anybody have an answer for that? Bobby, you want to give it a shot?
Fred, well, I can't speak to that. Is Fred still on the line? Fred, are you aware of any of the new fuel lines coming into the city?
Yes, Fred Griffith. Tico Gas has a company that is obviously laying gas lines east on State Route 100 and then diving down on Palm Drive, where they successfully hit our 16-inch water main, which we're working on getting repaired. From that point, it goes to the end of where Palm Drive makes a hooks to the right, and Lambert goes to the left. And they have plans to go across the river on the south side of the bridge. Okay, I spoke to them last week and this week. They have the state gave them a permit to cross the river and install a gas line exactly where our force main is. And I told them straight up over the phone this morning that there wasn't any point in doing any locates out in the river because they weren't going to be putting their gas line through our force main or under our force main or on top of our force main. So I don't know what happened with the issuance of this right-of-way use permit, but that's the issue across the river. On the east side of the river, they're obviously going to down Moody, as you mentioned, and eventually going to 2nd Street and ending up on A1A for now. Eventually, of course, they have plans to run up and down A1A from 2nd Street north 2nd Street. That's about all I know at this point. But that's an update.
Okay, so we've given them permission to run through our right of ways up to A1A.
We gave them a permit to go from the east side of the river to down Moody, Flagler to 2nd Street to A1A. Yes, sir. That permit was processed and they're currently working on that.
Was there a permit for the Palm Drive part of it?
The DOT, my understanding is the DOT issued them a right-of-way use permit on that Palm Drive area, which is in state right-of-way. And
No, it's not. It's in city right away. Or part, it's probably,
no, it's in
the first part where it comes off Connecticut is on city right away. Then when you run out of city, and Ken, follow me if I'm right, when we get past the mosquito canals, then it moves over to the state right away under the bridge.
Okay, you may have a point. That may help our legal argument as far as our claim to them if they never got a permit on that Connecticut section, that little section of Connecticut. I'll go back and check that. I know the state gave them a right-of-way permit for that area, but if it's city right-of-way, then they really didn't have the right to do that at all.
And it's really a mess.
Yeah, that was the word I was going to use.
Okay, I just wanted to try and get it out there. People were asking how far it's going to go. Are they going to be able to have it? And whenever you find out something on that, Fred, could you share that
All right,
with us?
sure. I'll inquire and find out and let you know. I know they have plans to get to A1A, and obviously they're going to go probably north and south from 2nd Street. And how far, I don't know how big their plans are. I'll find out and let you know.
Appreciate it. Thanks. That's all I got, Jane.
All right. Okay, which newbie wants to go first?
I'll take it. Okay, first of all, I'd like to offer my condolences to the Strickland family and the loss of their loved one and family member, his father Strickland, who died from the COVID virus. I think we're all very sorry.
But can
you get closer to your mic or something?
Okay, I'll try to get, how's this a little better?
That's good, right there.
Okay, if I get any closer, I'm gonna be in the screen, but I'll try. I said, first of all, I wanted to offer condolences to the Strickland family for the loss of their family member, Ms. Barbara Strickland, whom we all know that lost her life not too long ago here last week. And also like to welcome myself to all the commissioners here. Look forward to working with all you guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And we have a lot of talent here, and I think we're gonna get a lot of great things done. I'd also like to basically thank the police chief, fire chief, all the department heads and our staffs. I think they're all working very hard. And, you know, we take for granted folks that are out there picking up our garbage and things like that. And they're taking a lot of risk as well. So we really appreciate all these folks. So in light of all of that, I'd just like give them my kudos and thank them very much. The last item I have is, I'm going to pass this off to the city attorney here in a few minutes, but this is my last item, but I've always advocated restraints by senior officials when it involves comments and opinions about members of our management and employees, when it involves health and employee matters. And there's also HIPAA and privacy issues that we also have to keep in mind. And I basically encourage all of us to basically be a little restrained when it warrants, and be a little careful, a little cautious about when we're making comments about anyone on the staff or in our management. So what I'd like to do is I'd like for our city attorney to give us a little guidance in that respect as to what his opinion is on that as well.
Sure, definitely when it comes to health matters, be very cautious with health matters because we are regulated by HIPAA. So you have to be very careful whenever you're talking about health conditions. There are some, you know, obviously when it's with city manager staff, you have interference with administration you have to consider. So it's wise to never make comments about staffing, at least specific comments. Those comments should always be directed to the city manager. Of course, when it is involving the city manager, that changes a little bit, but it does not negate the need for discretion in any comments that are made, particularly if they're not comments that are made directly on an agenda item.
Okay, that's all I have. And I just like, again, thanks to all of our citizens of Flagler Beach. I know it's tough times to stay in the house and stay in the yard, but I think a lot of people getting a lot of exercise, bicycles and all, even though they can't go to the beach. Hang in there. I think the numbers prove that we're all doing a very good job based on the few, I want to say few, but less than a number of other counties. So stick with it, folks. Stay home, stay safe. That's all I
Thank you,
have.
Ken. Debbie?
I just wanted to say thank you. I'm honored to be your commissioner for the next 3 years. I just have a couple of items. The first one is I've heard from a couple of people that they do not use Facebook and they would like to see our website utilized more, just kind of some bullet points. You know, what's going on at the beach, what's going on with COVID ID, what's going on with our what's going on with the succession plan. I know we've got a section called Flagler News as you scroll down. But is there a way, Penny, to put information, just kind of bullet out on our Facebook page for our residents to take a look at?
Under the news flash, there's there, but actually, Janelle, if you want to comment on this, I'll let you do it. Janelle does our website for us.
Yeah, I can put, I mean, whatever's being sent by any of the staff, I'm putting right on the news flash. I've been updating it as I've been working from home. If there's anything else that you'd like to see, I can put it out there. Matt Downey's our PIO. So when Matt sends me anything, he just mentioned bicyclists and the street laws the other day, and that's on our news flash, and the directions on how to log into this meeting and everything else. Whatever's we're sending out as the city, it goes on there.
Okay, is there a way, Janelle, to actually put just some bullets at the top of the web page and I'd put it down in Newsflash? I don't think people are scrolling down as far.
It's kind of hard the way that it doesn't really give me the option to change the way the website looks.
Okay.
I have like specific parts that I can add to. It doesn't give me the freedom to adjust the layout of the website. Okay. I can write things on the top. I can see what I can do, but really it just depends on how they're looking at it. If you're looking at it through your phone, yeah, you're going to have to scroll for a while. If you look at it on a desktop, it's right there on the main page.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. If there's any way you can kind of see if there's anything else you can do up on the top, that would be great. I mean, I understand if there's not, but it might be worth.
I don't believe there is. I think that's interesting. I can try to contact our website developer though and see if there's something they can do with me and to change it around a little bit.
That would be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the only other thing I had was the Rotary Club feeds or passes out groceries to 400 individual families in Pearson, Florida. So I just want to send a shout out to Roseanne Stocker, who is on the Rotary, as well as Salty Church. They were looking for volunteers from Flagler Beach to assist this week. And we had quite a few volunteers, which was great. So the next volunteer opportunity is April 29th. Unfortunately, a lot of their existing volunteers just can't come out because of the virus. And so they're just in desperate need of volunteers. So if anybody's looking for something to do, reach out to Salty Church or Roseanne Stocker and she'd be happy to help. That's all I have. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Well, I would like to welcome Ken and Debbie as well, and ditto on everything that people said about how great the community's been in cooperating. I don't need to say everything that everybody already said. We do still need the easement signed for the beach project. I know, Drew, you said you were going to read or summarize what else. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And for the businesses, I get notices. I don't know if everybody gets them. Every day there are lots of notices about what the state is doing to try and help businesses, what the chamber is trying to do. I know that we have a local attorney, Scott Spradley, who's trying to help businesses sign up for the things they're entitled to. So I hope people are really trying to take advantage of every bit of the CARES Act that's available to the businesses, and residents are entitled to some too. So I hope people are taking advantage of that. I was going to write to Congressman Waltz about the fact that the city was, or cities under 500,000 were not entitled to, whoops, I lost everybody.
We're still here, Jane.
There, I got you. That cities under 500,000 were not receiving anything from the CARES Act, that it, they say local. Now in Congressman Waltz's district, there is no city with 500,000 people. So nobody in his district is going to get any money. But in the meantime, there is a bill in Congress to address that. So I didn't write down the number of the bill, but if you would like to contact Congressman Waltz to sign on to that bill, or at least vote for it, that would be great. We have the same expenses that big cities have with less income to pay for them. So we certainly should be entitled to some of that money. I would like to thank every member of our staff for really extending themselves and going out of their way. So thank you. And news came out today, I guess Matt probably shared this with you, that first responders now will be able to go for rapid testing at the hospital, and I think also up at the Daytona State College campus in Palm Coast. So that's great. They can't just go, but they have to, I think from what I read, they have to at least have some kind of symptoms. Matt, is that what you've been reading?
Yes, ma'am. The testing will begin tomorrow at Daytona State College in Palm Coast for first responders, only that meet criteria for testing. And that'll be done free of charge, and I think they have 500 tests. So that'll be available to all the first responders here in Flagler County.
Right, and they'll get the results back in a day.
Yes, relatively quickly, I believe 24 to 48 hours. And another testing site for citizens that have symptomatic problems with possible COVID, starting tomorrow down at Daytona International Speedway, Advent Health.
I saw something about the hospital today, too, Advent.
I don't know about the hospital. I know about Daytona International Speedway and Daytona State College. Those are the two spots.
Okay.
Daytona State for first responders and the Speedway in Daytona for citizens.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay,
Chairman,
that's all.
If I could just jump in on the hospital, there is a tent satellite set up there for testing, but the numbers are they're going to have to warrant before they're going to open it. So it is set up there at Advent, but it's not actively operational.
Oh, all right.
Madam
I'm not even
Chairman,
sure where I read it today, but thank you, Bobby.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
Greg, I just briefly wanted to tell you that Commissioner Bellhumer was correct about the silt fence. It was in the design. We had words with the contractor today, and if he doesn't have it in tomorrow, it's either tomorrow morning or else with the silt fence. And we will, we haven't inspected the retention area, but there used to be a berm there. And the gravel parking lot is currently still a gravel parking lot, but the pavement is soon to go down in the next couple of days. And I apologize for all of you for not having the silt fence up, but it'll be there tomorrow or else.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you,
Thank
Fred.
you.
Okay, Drew, you have anything to report? I know you have what Al said. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll get to that. And I really, the only other thing for myself is I wanted to echo the sentiments about your staff with the thank you, but also to really to take a minute to give them a lot of credit for a lot of things. One, with all the information coming out, you know, I think we all have our circles of people that we immediately share stuff with when we see. I do it. My other cities are doing it, but your staff certainly, as soon as they see something, they're forwarding it on to me, and that's helping not only your city, but all the cities I work with and all the city attorneys that I work with from various other cities. So I really appreciate the effort and the thought to get information out as broadly disseminated as we can, as they can, as it's coming in, because a lot of these executive orders, particularly, there'll be a press conference, it's announced, and then we're all scrambling to put our hands on it because there's a bit of a lag between when one's announced, when one's signed, and when it hits the website. So I want to thank everybody over there for assisting in that, and again, just to the lauding them. Really and truly, there've been very few times, if any, where I've called over there and said something just happened where the person I was calling didn't say, "Yep, already heard, already on top of it," and they already had a solution planned. So I want to thank everybody for all that, and I know they're working really hard and doing a great job. So I just want to take a minute to say that. Moving on to the Army Corps project, the Army Corps has given a 90-day extension to the project for the acquisition of all the easements, which certainly gives a little bit of breathing room under this crisis that we're all facing. That does not change the county's perspective on it. They are still moving forward as expeditiously as they can to keep working on gathering all of the easements that are needed for that. As of today, we have 91 easements that cover 93 properties. So that's 93 properties that we now have easements for. There were a couple of them that 2 properties were included in one easement. That's why you see that discrepancy between 91 and 93. But 93 properties that we now have the easements for the project. 23 easements are in process. That means that they have made successful communication with the property owner, and they're working either to resolve title issues. Somebody may have signed in the wrong place, not had an appropriate notarization, but there's 23 on top of that 93 that are moving forward in a positive direction. They now have 27 outstanding for the core project, which they continue to need outreach help on. And the number one, really the only one that Al named by name today with me was the Topaz. But there is kind of a hot spot there in their hole in the program right there around the Topaz. And they're hoping that if the Topaz will come on board, that the dominoes will fall and some of those surrounding property owners will also come on board. So Al has asked me to put out the call that if anybody has any contact with the Topaz, any contacts with the Topaz, to reach out whatever ways we can to encourage them to get on board and to jump in and take care of their own property, protect their own property. And again, hoping that will create a little bit of a domino fall down the line. So that's the high points that were covered. Most of it was already in the email that you saw. Are there any questions for me?
No. Anybody?
I'm good.
All right. And also, I guess just to final out, welcome Commissioner Bryan and Commissioner Phillips. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to them a little bit over the last few days. I wish we had better circumstances, but I'm sure those opportunities will present themselves. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Bobby, do you have anything?
I would just mirror the comments that came out earlier. Staff has had to be very creative and take different approaches with the situation we're in now, but modified schedules are in place and everybody's come together. And until Mr. Newsom's return, I'm just very proud of what all staff is accomplishing.
Great. Before we move on to Penny, Kathleen. Hi. You have to unmute yourself, okay? We just approved in the reorganization meeting people to sign checks, but the bank is closed. So how do we go about doing this?
Well, SunTrust, which is the main one that we really need to be concerned with, I'll be contacting them tomorrow. They send it through the email. They prepare everything for us. Now, as far as, everybody having to physically sign it, me and Penny, I guess we'll kind of work on that and figure out a way to get that all done.
Okay. It just popped into my head, so I thought I'd ask you before I forget. Thank you. All right, Ms. Penny.
Just one more public comment that was sent in. And he's just commending everyone for doing a great job in this unorthodox format of holding a meeting. And that's it. Fred gave me a compliment on a letter to a resident. That has nothing to do with this. And welcome to the new officials. And this is odd. It's different, but we seem to be doing okay. And I just really wanted to thank the county IT department for helping us. It wouldn't be possible if they hadn't helped us. And Jared reached out from the beginning of this and offered these services, and it's been great. So, and just don't log out. We still have one more meeting. So when this is adjourned, we still have.
We still have the CRA meeting.
Right. So Fred, I mean, I don't think you'll need Fred for this. Fred, if you want to go, I think you could go.
Yeah, you can drive home now.
Drive to your couch.
Drive safely, Fred. Okay,
Thanks for your input, Fred.
yes, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Commission. Have a good night.
Okay,
There were, one gentleman just asked for his comments to be read. I did forward them on all to you. He had 4 comments. Jeffrey, Cormier, I'm butchering his name. But it was regarding Gopher Tortoises, and, those have all been forwarded to you, and per the policy that went with the agenda, you have received them, and I've noted that I've received them and they are in the record.
okay, thank you, Penny.
Mhm.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Jane, I have a question.
Oh, you have a question, okay.
Yeah, in reference to this, slipping back to this Gopher Tortoise issue that we have down there in the 2500 block. Can we get a commitment from somebody that they'll move that dirt from that spot? I mean, that's what they've been doing. They dig these swales and they remove the dirt and haul it off site. But, you know, we have an issue with this one particular property, and I think it ought to be taken off site.
I thought Fred said, oh, Fred, you still here?
Yes.
I thought Fred said it was taken care of this morning.
I believe it's already been moved, Commissioner.
Fred, what they did was they pulled the dirt back off the private property out into the right of way. So the pile of dirt's actually even taller than it was yesterday.
We want the dirt.
There's lots of piles of dirt out there that all need to be moved, and the contractor's in the process of picking it up and moving it. They've been instructed they can lay sod tomorrow, but that's it, and pick up dirt.
Well, this pile's like 15 feet high. It's not like any other pile.
Okay, well, I would expect the contractor's in the process of scheduling to get it moved to the wastewater treatment plant then.
Okay, I don't have any backup on this, then that's how it is. But I just think since this has been a really hot spot, that ought to be the first dirt that they move.
Understood.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Okay, motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Penny, do you need a minute?
No, ma'am. I'm good.
I just have to find the right agenda. Okay. All right, we are meeting as a special meeting of the Flagler Beach City Commission, sitting as the Community Redevelopment Agency. It is Thursday, April 9th, and we will continue till we get through the items. Penny, did we have any public comment?
No, ma'am, I have received no public comments either by email or phone for the CRA agenda.
All right, the next one is the minutes of the December 12th meeting. Anybody?
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes of the December 12th meeting.
Seems like 100 years ago.
I'll second that.
All right, Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Bellhumor,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes, the motion.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Chair Mealy.
Yes. And then we have the annual CRA report.
This is an annual report. Do we update it?
I didn't update, you had a person here before that kind of enjoyed doing this. And it was kind of passed on to me out of, not that I was begging for it, but someone needed to do it and it wasn't getting done. So I mentioned it to Larry that it needed to be done and he kind of said, oh, so you want to do it? Wasn't really the choice. So it's not been updated. I mean, I looked at each page. I made sure things were current. Of course, when it comes to your major goals and the direct objectives, those have to be amended by resolution, which they have not been done. I update who, make sure the officials are correct. And I update the numbers and Kathleen provides those numbers to me. But other than that, it is very similar to last year's.
Yeah, I had a question about the board members. I don't think I was.
Yeah, that's what I'm
chair.
at.
Yeah,
Yeah, you weren't chair
I don't
last
think
year.
that page, I don't think is right.
I
What
will,
prompted my question.
okay, I will look at that part. I'll go back and look, but remember, we're talking about 19. So this would be before October 1 of 19.
Right, but I don't think I was chair.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it was Kim, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, I'll correct that.
okay.
Other than that, I'm fine with it.
Chair and Marshall was the vice. Sorry about that. Okay, I've noted that correction.
Anybody else have anything? Okay, so I need a motion to approve.
As amended.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Not the minutes, the CRA report.
The annual.
I don't even see it on our agenda.
Yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
item 4.
On the CRA agenda, Rick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the minutes. My apologies. I'll second that motion. That you're waiting on a second.
Yes, sir. So Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryan,
Yes.
Commissioner Bellhumor,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes, the motion.
Chair Mealy.
Yes.
Right.
Anybody have any other comments?
Let me look at email real quick and make sure no one sent anything in. No additional public comments.
Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I want to thank everybody. This was a really good meeting.
It was.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Great.